The NFL playoffs are here. Wild Card weekend is this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We've got a good slate of games coming up. And, this playoffs could be a very good one. Obviously, all 14 teams want their shot at the Super Bowl trophy. At the end, only one team will be crowned Super Bowl 59 champs. And today, we'll be going through those 14 teams, ranking them 1 through 14, and showing who I think is the biggest contenders and who I think are pretenders in this year's playoffs. And before we start, I do want to mention over 99% of my viewers are still not subscribed. It's been getting up. I appreciate it a lot. But if you keep coming back to my content and you enjoy it, just hit the subscribe button. It's free, helps me out a ton. And let's get jumped in to number 14. Jumping into number 14, I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've lost 4 straight. They haven't looked that great in these last 4 weeks. Offense has looked really flat. I mean, George Pickens has also not looked very good. He's been their, that's the guy they're hoping to be a wide receiver 1 type of player. I do like their defense. I love their defense. I think it's been really good all year. TJ Watt has 11.5 sacks on the year. I think the running game with the 2 running backs has been successful at times. However, I just think the fact that Russ and everything on offense is starting to flatten out and starting to go a little bit lackluster. 14.3 points per game in their last 4 games. And, I mean, it just hasn't looked good. The team hasn't looked good. George Pickens, as I said, has not looked that good. And that's where I look at the Steelers team and I say, I think they're the worst team in the playoffs. So I'm going to have to put them at number 14. Coming in at number 13, we've got the Houston Texans, our first divisional winner on this ranking. Now, I just don't think the Texans have looked too great. I mean, I think their offense with C.J. Stroud has definitely taken a step back from last year. Obviously, Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs are both out, so that's a little bit of a negative towards them for that team. Nico Collins, back from injury, has looked really good. Nico Collins was looking like a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. But I don't know. Their defense has looked really great, I'd say, this year. DeMeco Ryans, obviously defensive-minded head coach, has been great for them in their second season. They didn't play in a very strong division, though. That's my worry. They've played 6 games against 3 really not great teams. The Colts, who finished, 7-10, I think, maybe 8-9. And then the Titans, who have the number 1 pick in the draft, and the Jaguars, who finished with, I think, 4 wins on the year. So it's a very weak division, so 6 of their games were against that division. That's why I don't trust them as much. But I do like their defense. Top 10 in yards allowed per game. I mean, they've only allowed 11 rushing touchdowns this whole year, and they've been really good against quarterbacks. Only an 83.7 passer rating allowed, which is, I believe, 3rd in the league. And I think what it comes down to is how's this team going to show up in the playoffs against a very good Los Angeles Chargers team? Can that defense really step it up and force turnovers against Justin Herbert, who's been absolutely electric for them, the Chargers? And can C.J. Stroud get back into his groove? He's been sacked 14 more times this year than last year. But can he get back into his groove? That's why I got them at number 13. Coming in at number 12, I'm going to have the Washington Commanders. I think the Commanders are a very young, developing team, and I don't think this is going to be the year that they really pop out and have a really, really good season. I think they had a really great regular season. The postseason, I think because they play the Buccaneers, they'll probably fall in the wild card round. There's a good chance they might win this game because I'm not too high on the Bucs either. But this game could probably be potentially the best game of the weekend. But Jaden Daniels has looked fantastic. He's been the X factor all season for the Commanders, and that offense has just gotten new life under Cliff Kingsbury. And my concern is the defense. The secondary keeps getting hurt. I mean, with Marshawn Lattimore especially, I'm saying. And other than Lattimore, I don't really see guys that just are eye-popping good. I don't see guys that are that good compared to Lattimore on this secondary. As I said in my mock draft, Benjamin St. Juste is a starting corner on this team, and he is not a very good corner. That could be a real big issue, especially against a team with Mike Evans and a guy like Jalen McMillan, who's done really good in his rookie season. I'm going to have to put the Commanders at 12. And then coming in at number 11, we've got the team facing the Washington Commanders. It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're one of the weakest division winners. Obviously not as weak as Houston in my opinion, but they are the weakest in the NFC. I don't really know if this team's going to be able to make impacts in the playoffs. I think they do win their game against Washington in the wild card round, but I don't think they go any farther than that because I have them facing Philly in the divisional, and I think Philly gets their revenge from last year in the wild card round, and Philly beats them in the divisional. This team won, again, a very bad conference, or very bad division, sorry. I mean, you have the 5-12 Panthers, 5-12 Saints, and the 8-9 Falcons. Not a good division at all. I mean, the secondary's been looking questionable. You just saw the touchdown there by Marquez Valdes-Scantling, but they looked really bad against the Saints, and that was very concerning to me. Other than Bucky Irving, who's looked really good, I think Bucky Irving's been fantastic as he pulls off a big run there. He has been electric as a rookie this season, and Baker Mayfield's had a very good season this year. But their team seems to, slow down at times and really struggle at certain points. And I think that's something that is going to come to bite them in the butt, and I don't think it's going to be something that's going to help them in the long run. So I'm going to go Tampa Bay at number 11. Coming in at number 10, we're going to have the Denver Broncos. They just sneak into the playoffs after beating Kansas City, by a wide margin. But 10-7 with a rookie QB. Bo Nix has looked really good this year. He had a kind of a rough start, but he has really been able to pick it up, and he's had a very, very good season. And it also helps when you've got a very good defense led by Vance Joseph. This defense has been fantastic all year. They've got 2 Defensive Player of the Year candidates in Pat Surtain and Nick Bonito. Dude, they've been so good, man. They lead the league in sacks with 63. And look at what they do. Look what they do. They wreak havoc against any team they play. And I think my biggest concern though is Nix is a rookie. It's their first time in the playoffs since 2015 when they won Super Bowl 50. And they're playing the Buffalo Bills, dude. I really thought I would put the Broncos higher than this, but the fact that they're playing the Bills is what concerns me the most. I don't think they have a chance at making a big impact in this playoffs. They're a very good team, but since they play the Buffalo Bills, I got to put them down here. They're at number 10. Coming in at number 9, I've got the Green Bay Packers. Man, I really thought about putting this team over the Vikings. My only concern is they went 1-5 in their division, 2 losses to the Vikings, 2 losses to the Lions, and then 1-1 against the Bears, of course. And, I couldn't really put them above a team that they lost twice to. So Green Bay at number 9. I like the addition of Josh Jacobs. He's been one of the best running backs in the league this year. He's rushed for more yards and touchdowns than A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones did last year combined. And, Jordan Love hasn't had to throw as much this year, which really shows the big improvement in the run game with Josh Jacobs and that offensive line. And then also the line's been good with pass pro. They have the 3rd lowest sack rate in the NFL this year. I think what it comes down to for them is I can't rank them high enough when their defense is a little worrisome without Jair Alexander. Their corner room isn't that great without him. What is it? It's Eric Stokes, Keyshawn Nixon, and Carrington Valentine. They've been kind of pretty lower rated corners on the season. So Xavier McKinney needs to find a way to get his interceptions back. 5 in the first 5 games, 3 in the last 12. But with that being said, I'm putting the Packers at number 9. We've got the Minnesota Vikings. I'm putting the Minnesota Vikings here. This could be a little bit of a shocker to people because they do have that 14-3 record. I don't know if they're even going to win their wild card game. I think I could see them being a first-round exit. I don't want to say that Sam Darnold had a bad game in Week 18 and that's going to describe his whole postseason. But he's never played in the postseason. He's had a really good regular season, and against a Lions team who's really good, a really good Lions team, a very good playoff team, he went 18 for 40, I believe. And that's concerning to me. That team they're playing in LA has had a very good defense recently. So that's something that can possibly come back and bite Minnesota in the butt is how Sam Darnold plays. So I think their defense has been great. Brian Flores has done a fantastic job with that defense. 33 takeaways in the NFL, most in the NFL. And hey, you look at it, their defense is the reason they win. 14-0 when they hold teams to under 30 points. And every time they've lost, the teams have scored over 30 points. So the defense has looked really good. My only concern is how Sam Darnold's going to play in the playoff based off of how he's played against some of the better teams in the league. He's played pretty good against some teams, but last week was really concerning to me. I'm going to put the Vikings at number 8. Coming in at number 7, we've got one of the Los Angeles teams. The Los Angeles Rams will be coming at 7. I think this team's a very big sleeper when it comes to the playoffs this year. I mean, kind of went under the radar, I'd say. Their finish of the season was very, very fantastic. I mean, they went 10-7 on the year, and they've been really good at winning one-score games. They're 8-5 on the year. They started 1-3 first month. Those were all one-score games. Since then, they've been 7-2 in one-score games. That's been really, really impressive. And I think the big thing for them is they need to get Cooper Kupp going again. Cooper Kupp had a very bad end of the season. I think 4 catches for 53 yards in the last 3 games. I don't know if that's fully right, but that's from what I can remember. But Puka's been great. Puka's been fantastic. Kyron's been really good for him. Hasn't had the highest workload compared to usually, but he still can get into the end zone, reach that end zone. Their defense has been great, led by a lot of rookies, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk. It's been great. I mean, the corner room's a little bit shallow, but I think this Rams team could really make something happen in the playoffs, and I have them beating Minnesota in the first round, and then I also have them possibly having a really good game against Detroit, because they showed that when they played Detroit in week 1. So I'm going to have to put the Rams right at number 7. Coming in at number 6, I've got the other LA team, the Los Angeles Chargers, led by Justin Herbert. I mean, they've looked real good this season. Jim Harbaugh has been a great change of scenery for the coaching compared to Brandon Staley, of course. This team has kind of changed their identity. Not the strongest wide receiver room. Ladd McConkey's been fantastic. Quentin Johnston's shown sparks of what he can really do. Other than that, there's really not much. And the running game has been the focal point for this team. I mean, J.K. Dobbins has had himself a resurgence this year. Justin Herbert obviously can run the ball pretty well. And, you got Gus Edwards, Kamani Vital. Those two guys, those backups have been really good for him as well. But my thing is, Justin Herbert just seems to not have luck in the playoffs. I really want to see him win a game or two in the playoffs. I think it's going to happen. My thing is the defense, though, too, is an improvement from the last time they were in the playoffs. Obviously, they blew the 27-0 lead against Jacksonville. I don't think it's going to happen. They have a great red zone defense this year. They have a league-low points allowed per game this year. I think the Chargers really have a chance at being a contender in the AFC, and that's why I put them at number 6. Coming in at number 5, we've got the Baltimore Ravens, led by an MVP candidate, Lamar Jackson. I mean, this team has looked absolutely fantastic. I think Lamar's got a chance at winning his 3rd MVP of the year. He's had a phenomenal passing season, and then on top of that, he has 915 rushing yards on the year, which he is now the highest rushing quarterback in a career, passing Mike Vick, which is very impressive for him. And then on top of that, you got Derrick Henry in the backfield, who's running for over 1,900 yards. The team's running for almost 190 yards a game on the ground. The rushing attack is almost unstoppable, man. This team is just so hard to stop on the ground because you got power and you got speed when it comes to the QB and the running back. My big concern, though, I hate to say it, Justin Tucker's been terrible. He's been one of the best kickers in NFL history. He's been terrible this year. He is 54.5% from beyond 50 yards this year, and he used to be automatic from that distance. And that's something that could, sometimes you want those easy field goals. If he misses 1 or 2, that can really bite you in the butt. But my big thing for them is the defense. The defense struggled at the beginning of the year. Since week 11, they've been the number 1 defense in points allowed per game and in total yards allowed per game. Their defense has really stepped it up since week 10. Starting in week 11, they've been really good. I think it matters whether or not this defense can keep that performance up. If they can, this team has a legitimate shot at a Super Bowl run. If not, it will likely get cut short by probably a team like Buffalo, maybe Kansas City. But I'm going to have to put the Ravens at number 5. Coming in at number 4, this might shock you, but I've got the Super Bowl champs from last year, the defending back-to-back champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, coming in at number 4. My big thing with the Chiefs is Mahomes hasn't looked like Mahomes all season. He's been pretty good still. He's Patrick Mahomes, obviously, but he hasn't looked like the true Mahomes that everybody knows. I mean, they almost lose to the Raiders on Black Friday. The defense has still looked fantastic, though, let me tell you that. That defense is just with Steve Spagnuolo at defensive coordinator has been absolutely great. I mean, the thing is for me, Mahomes is Mahomes, so you got to put him up there. You got to put the Chiefs up high because this dude's passer rating in his career goes up when he plays in the playoffs. It goes in the fourth quarter in overtime. In his career, he's a 98.3 passer rating in the fourth quarter in the regular season. In the playoffs, it goes up to 105.8. That's just something you don't see a lot. I mean, he's a future Hall of Famer already at this point. This team is going to be really good. I mean, they have a very, very good chance at winning their third straight. I think the AFC is a lot more powerful this season. That's why I put them here at number 4. But, I mean, they haven't been very dominant. They've had to win 11 of their games off of comebacks. And can they... they're going to get to the point where those close wins don't happen every week, and they're going to end up losing one. So I'm going to have to put the Chiefs, despite being the back-to-back Super Bowl champs, I'm going to have to put them at number 4. Coming in at number 3, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles, who have looked really good this year in the NFC. This team, I mean, you didn't think they could have gotten much better with the running game, and then they go out and signed Saquon Barkley, who has 2,000 rushing yards on the year. That's just absolutely electric. And then on top of that, Jalen Hurts was 630. Those two guys have 27 rushing touchdowns combined. And then on top of that, again, Jalen Hurts is having probably his best passing year of his career. He's leading his career high in passer rating and yards per attempt. When you thought the team couldn't get that much better, they go out and they get a lot better. And then Saquon's out here doing feats like this, the backwards hurdle that everybody remembers. Unreal. I think this team is really going to be a legitimate NFC contender, one of the top ones in the NFL. Has a very good shot at winning the Super Bowl this year. That rushing attack, man, is just so impressive. And then their rookie corners, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, two guys I want to point out have been so good for him. That's why I got the Eagles coming in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, we've got the Buffalo Bills. You know, Josh Allen might be winning his first MVP of his career. It's either him or Lamar, in my opinion. He's looked so good. 42 total touchdowns this year. 5 straight times doing that. Maybe not straight, but 5 seasons of doing that. 40 or more total touchdowns. He's been great, man. I know a lot of his touchdowns have came from some QB sneaks rushing-wise, but I don't think that's something you should really like focus on. But Stephon Diggs leaves, and he has another fantastic season. I mean, Khalil Shakir's been really good for them. The rookie Keon Coleman's been showing up in times when they need him. Amari Cooper hasn't had the season you've probably wanted him to, but he's going to be a good pickup for you in the long run. My only concern is the defense has looked really good against some of the worst teams, but against the playoff teams, they haven't looked very good. They're 2-3 against playoff teams this year, and they allow 33 points a game against playoff teams this year. That is... I mean, if that's not an eye-popping stat to you, I don't know what is. The only teams that are giving up more points per game against playoff teams are 3 teams that are out of the playoffs: the Bengals, the Patriots, and the Titans. And obviously, everybody knows the Patriots, bad, not a very good defense. Titans, not a very good defense. Bengals, absolutely horrendous on defense, too. So the Bills need to be more consistent against these good teams, against these playoff teams, if they want to win a Super Bowl. I just think this team has all the pieces to put it together and win the AFC. So I'm going to be putting Buffalo at number 2. And finally, coming in at number 1, we've got the Detroit Lions, who I think has been the best team in the NFL all season. Man, that offense is unbelievable. 33.2 points per game, which is up a touchdown from last year. And that offense last year was fantastic. I mean, that whole coaching staff, the whole team put together, the chemistry there is unreal. I mean, Dan Campbell's an absolutely phenomenal head coach. The offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, is also great. I love watching what he can dial up. Trick plays like that just showed with Laporta scoring a touchdown. They've got pieces. Jared Goff's been really good for him. Second in the league in passing yards. You got Jameson Williams, who's been a really big X factor and a very good deep ball threat for you in his 3rd season in the NFL. And Amon-Ra St. Brown obviously still having all-pro caliber seasons. Laporta's had a little bit of a down year compared to last year, but he's still a consistent tight end. And then you have Jahmyr Gibbs, who, in my opinion, is one of the most explosive and best running backs in the league. I mean, he gets his own backfield, and then he does things that are absolutely unbelievable. He leads the league in total touchdowns. They have been so good. The thing is injuries have absolutely been attacking this team. Aiden Hutchinson out for half the season. Aleem McNeil out. Carlton Davis out. I think Ennis Rakestraw was hurt as well. A lot of these players keep getting hurt. Anzalone just came back from injury. The defense might be a little concerning because of the injuries. They, improved. They've been pretty good. They were very good against the Vikings, only giving up 9 points per game. But the defense is a little scary because of the injuries. But I think this team is the best team in the NFL, which is so crazy to say that the Lions are the number one team in the NFL. And I've got the Lions as my number one team in this playoffs, and that's the team that I have winning the Super Bowl this year is the Detroit Lions. And there you have it. There's all 14 playoff teams ranked 1 to 14 based off of how likely they are to be a contender this year. I think the Lions are the best team in the playoff this year and who I have as the Super Bowl champ of Super Bowl 59, and the Steelers as the least likely to win this year's Super Bowl. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. Put down in the comment section below what you think is going to happen this playoffs. Give me a bracket prediction, anything. I'd love to hear your entire thing. And once again, if you get to the end of the video and you still aren't subscribed, I'd appreciate if you just hit it. Appreciate you for watching all the way through, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.